First day of the week. Done. Oh yeah, there you go. This guy's one of the professors in the school, the professor that was teaching today.
Hey guys, today's lesson is on the theme, or reflection is on the theme of scalability. It's a number of things that makes up an individual's strength in this particular art, right? You've got an individual's athleticism, right? And this is where I made a video previously answering a question to Zachariah, who's an 8-year-old who just started Taekwondo, and about separating between the practice of technique of the martial art and the practice of strength. And these two things combined is what makes up your total level of athleticism in the art of any martial art, or even sport in general. Be a master of technique, but there is something else that takes into play. Strength matters, size matters, and at the same time, weight matters as well. Now, the thing is, technique is such a strong element that if you have no technique or you have poor technique, then a lot of that strength, size, and weight gets nullified. Like a 150-pound 60-year-old versus 250-pound 25-year-old, there is going to be a major level of difference. Now, if on a scale of 1 to 10, the 25-year-old is a skill level of 2 or 3 or even 4 versus the 150-pound 60-year-old whose skill level is at an 8, 9, or 10, right? There's going to be a significant leveling there. The Gracies, they put it as every 10 years of difference equals a belt level. So somebody who's 60 years old, if they're sparring against somebody who's 50, consider them one belt, consider the 50-year-old one belt higher. So if it's a white belt versus a black belt, so you got white, blue, purple, brown, black, right? That's 4 belts, right? So that's 40 years. 40 years of difference by itself is enough to level that playing field. And then for every 40 pounds or so of weight difference, that's also another belt level, because they're able to use that weight, that pressure, that strength perhaps against the lighter individual. Mitsuyo Maeda, who was the grandfather of Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, he's the one who taught the Carlos Gracie and Helio Gracie back when they were much younger, in their teens. And one of the things was that he was brought to the United States on the request of, initially by Ulysses as Grant, by the Kodokan. They sent their 10th Dan black belt. They did a demo. Teddy Roosevelt loved it. And so he's like, bring him back. And Mitsuyo Maeda was among the ones who was sent by the Kodokan, who were the exclusive or the first original judo instructional place. And so their demo, and Teddy Roosevelt and American Naval Forces, they were duly impressed by this art known as judo, to be able to take down big strong guys. Until finally, now Maeda, he's a small dude, he's like what, 5'4", right? Short individual. And so when he was put up against one of America's football players at the time, he was not able to submit him, or rather throw him down. Now Japan considered that a victory for themselves, because here's this really small guy who was unable to submit this really big heavy dude. America considered this a victory on their side, because, oh look, their invisible art, or invincible art, or whatever you want to call it, was unable to take down the American football player who was representing the US Naval Academy or whatever. And having both strength training and technique combined together gives you that athleticism, that capacity, that capability to do well in whatever sport that you participate in. So that's my reflection for today. I'll see you later. Note to self, today's lesson on the mat is what we did was, in fact, it was called the pendulum move, where you have the individual, they're sitting on the guard, right? So if this is the individual, they're in the guard like this, and the idea is to take that leg right here and basically get it around the individual, and then maybe either do an arm bar or get the mount, or do a triangle choke. One of the things I realized is that I have really long legs. Not only do I have really long legs, I have really long femurs, meaning the bone, the hip bone, or the bone that goes from the hip all the way down to my knees, right? Can I show this? Yeah, right? Like this whole section right here is really, really long on me. I got long legs. And so it's easy for me to get somebody into that position, but it's hard for me to finish it. And so one of the things I realized is that the ability to twist, and I'll give you an interesting example, there's a Jiu Jitsu principle, is that if you try to pull, it's not going to be that tight. However, as soon as you start twisting, you don't have to even apply that much pressure. It's already getting really, really tight. And so you got to do the same thing with the body. So when you have an individual, right, one individual's on the bottom, the other individual's on the top, you can try to squeeze as hard as you can, but as soon as you start twisting, that twisting is going to be the locking mechanism that goes into putting the individual, to squeezing the individual, to submitting the individual. And I got 2 submissions today, and well, it was against a fellow white belt, and he was, I think, in high school. So I mean, I not only had a little bit more experience, I had more weight advantage and I had size advantage. So, but I got the submission. That's 2 down, 9,998 to go.